Whew, hey y'all, Grand Rising, good afternoon, and good evening. Whatever time you click on this reading is the right time for you, and I thank you in advance for your viewership and support. Thank you for spending your time with me. And to everyone who was in my life, baby, this is the energetic tap in from under Gale King's wig. We're going to tap into spiritually, what is the energy around Gale King during the Megan Thee Stallion interview? I want to tap into her line of questioning, the thought pattern she had throughout this interview, and what the purpose was supposed to be to come out of this interview, and how this interview is going to be used in future tense, meaning when everything is all said and done, how will people look back at this exchange? And will Gale King tap back in to cover the final ending when everything comes full circle? Alrighty. And for those of you who don't know what I mean when everything comes full circle, Tory is in the middle of petitioning with his lawyers to take his case to a higher court to where either charges can possibly be dismissed or they can motion for a retrial. Without any further ado, can one of you please timestamp this reading for the 2-minute mark? I thank you in advance. Angel, spirit guides, and ancestors of the highest heavenly light, please tap me into the energy around the Gale King interview. How did this interview come to pass? And then show me what was the intent on Gale King's side for taking this interview. Oh, shoot. Now, before I pick these up, the bottom of the deck is the independent woman. So, Gale King is already established, and she's been established for decades as a journalist who is at the top of her craft. Okay, so, wow. I don't know if y'all can see these already on the table, but we've got 4 of Cups. This is an unrequited offer. So that's showing me that this was not something that Gayle was looking into doing, okay? We've got the High Priestess here, which means there are hidden motives and secrets attached to why this interview came into fruition. 6 of Pentacles. She knew that this was going to be, something that was going to be very fruitful. But 6 of Pentacles means that there may have allegedly been, a stipend or reward attached to her taking this, because this wasn't something that she was interested in doing. And that made this, a wish fulfillment for her to tap into this. Page of Pentacles, going off into, this venture pages are like, this is above, it's like she was above picking up this kind of story. This was beneath her journalistic integrity, so to speak. This is one of those things when somebody says that's not even in my pedigree. So somebody had to allegedly sweeten the pot for her to take this. And then boom, here we go, 8 of Pentacles. Now we're working. 8 of Pentacles is the card of being able to work or coming into agreement to work. Give me 1 second, y'all. There we go. Yeah, so Seven of Wands is someone who's defensive, and she may not have wanted to even, tap into doing this interview. So independent woman, Nine of Pentacles. That's wild to me that I'm getting in two different roles, that she felt resistant towards, possibly doing this interview, that somebody kind of had to give her an incentive, allegedly, to do this interview. This was not something that she felt like was worth her journalistic integrity. So you got Seven of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. She considered her options before even getting involved with this. But the Four of Pentacles is like somebody was very stubborn about this, and they were willing to provide some kind of financial stability, allegedly. Okay, so you've got Death and the Eight of Swords here at the bottom of the deck, which tells me that they needed to put a nail in the coffin. Okay, they needed to ensure that there was no chance of Tori coming out of prison. Okay, so Nine of Swords here, which represents anxiety, someone who is not able to be at peace, not able to be at rest. And you've got the Tower and the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So that's interesting enough, because what intrigues me about that combination is like somebody worrying about things falling apart and being cut off from, their career, like cancel culture. Somebody was afraid of being canceled. And here's the Death right here. That falls on top of Nine of Swords. And the Devil at the bottom of the deck, which lets me see that there was heavy anxiety around things coming to an end, because death only represents transformation, transition. Something has to end for something to begin. And this lines up with the cancel culture. Being afraid that things were going to come to an end due to toxic energy, toxic attachments. Oh, shoot. So we've got an Emperor that came out, but this Emperor fell out in reverse. So that goes back to things being out of control. The person who was over this decision or over this situation, the person who took this situation by the reins, okay, they felt like they were losing control of this situation. Hold on, because I want to make sure I can see everything as I go. Now, mind you, this is the how things came into fruition, because I asked about how this interview even, made it to network television, how things were put together. And it just seems like the people who were over Meg's career had to get a jump on things. They had to make sure that the public saw things in a certain light. They felt like they were losing control of a situation, allegedly. They had to make sure that when things came to an end and they transitioned into a new beginning, that transition was Tori being in prison, him being locked up over the Queen of Wands, the hot girl. Once again, here is the devil, which represents obsession and toxic energy, and the Two of Wands, a choice. So this emperor who felt like they were losing control is more like they were trying to regain control over a situation due to toxic activities and behaviors that came out of a choice that was made. That lead to someone being locked up. And as you can see in this card on the table, this person is blindfolded and they're bound. So that lets me know that this person didn't even see it coming. The term, even as they say, blind justice. The devil over the Eight of Swords means that there were maleficent energies attached to this person being blinded and bound. Page of Cups. Page of Cups, when it comes to the Cups energy, is someone who is flirty, okay? But not someone who's truly engaged. This is like, you know, in the, well, we just kicking it phase. This is in the getting to know each other but not taking each other that serious phase. Also, the Page of Cups is like it can represent coded messages, because when the page comes, it's like the messages are not what you would consider a full-fledged message. It would be like, you know, someone speaking slang or someone speaking some kind of code that is only understood by a certain group. But if you go across this row, you can see that this is a wish fulfillment due to someone considering their options. And for me, the Seven of Cups also represents libations and consumptions. The Emperor, that caused someone to be in reverse, to lose control due to a situation that was attached to someone being in flirty energy. And boom, there's the Ace of Pentacles. That's the second card to let me know that there was a lot riding on and a lot invested on doing this interview. Because Ace of Pentacles is a pretty penny. It's a pretty penny to be made. It's also possibly a pretty penny to be invested. Temperance at the bottom of the deck. That was going to bring balance through a new beginning. So on the table you have, you know, to bring balance through an ending, because this transition is an ending that brings a new beginning. This transition is a new beginning that comes through an ending, which brings everything full circle. Yeah, and now you've got the Three of Wands, which is the opportunities coming in now. that bring happier times. So you've got this toxic energy, this maleficent energy behind this person being locked up due to, courtship, flirty type energy that was supposed to bring an opportunity, the Three of Wands, that will bring happier times. Now, we do know due to EJ's testimony that Tori was invited over to Kylie's house because they were supposed to talk shop. They were supposed to talk about business. They were supposed to be talking about working together. In the midst of that, yes, there appears to be a lot of flirting, or light flirting and bantering, but on the back end, it was going to bring a lot of opportunities. So this was going to bring in the big fish, okay? That was going to bring happier times, the sun. But it ended up putting the weight of the world on Tori's shoulders. Now that we've gotten to the meat and potatoes of how this whole entire interview even came into fruition, angels and spirit guides of the heavenly highest order, please tap me into the energy around Gale King and how she felt while doing this interview. Everybody, I'm going to clear the table so that I can change the decks, because I want to tap directly into the energy that was around Gale King. Okay, we need to see what was going on under that wig, what was on her mind, baby. How was she thinking and feeling during this interview? To those of you who are watching right now, this came out of suggestions from a live that I did where we were joking about, Gale King's wig in the live, okay? And the joke was even her wig appeared to be exhausted in this interview. So I was requested to tap into the energy to see how she actually felt throughout the duration of this interview. What was her energy? How did she actually feel while she was interviewing Megan? So this is where this interview reading is coming from, to get y'all up to date on how we even got here with the title and this subject. Because I know somebody is going to be lost. Like, wait a minute, why are we talking about Gale King wig? That's where it comes from. Alrighty. So here we go. Come on, spirit guides. Reporting live from Gale King's wig. Show me the energy that was around Gale King mentally when she was engaging in this interview. Okay, so you got the King of Wands here and the Knight of Wands. The Nine of Wands. Correction. So King of Wands represents a fire sign male, and it also represents taking action. So she came into this reading with the mindset that they were going to, get down to what happened between Meg and Tori, because here's the fire sign male, which would be Tori, and the Nine of Wands, which represents the wounded warrior, which Megan would be considered the wounded warrior in this situation. Yeah, she wanted to get down to the truth of what actually happened. And she allowed her to do this interview so that she can come forward and share her message about, what happened the night that they were partying and this third party energy. So it looks like Gayle wanted the juice. She wanted the truth about what actually happened. Five of Pentacles. This feels like she felt like she got jilted. She didn't get the information that she wanted, because Five of Pentacles represents being left out in the cold or being left in a deficit. Seven of Swords represents sneaky, conniving energy, or feeling like somebody is playing in your face, allegedly. Okay, so Six of Cups is, you know, the card that represents past energies. Okay, so she didn't feel like she actually got to, you know, the bottom of what actually happened in the past. She wanted to know more about the truth and what happened between them, the actual situation. But she felt like this feels like somebody who, you know, it has been gaslit. Seven of Cups, King of Cups. So, like I said, Seven of Cups represents, you know, considering your options, and it also considers, you know, it's a card for me. I don't know about any other reader, but for me, it represents libations and partaking in substances. Okay, King of Cups. So, King of Cups is someone who cares very deeply, but they're staunch. They don't allow you to see how they feel. They don't wear their emotions on their sleeve. They're someone that's very composed no matter how they feel. So what I'm getting is Gayle felt very moved by this story, but then allegedly it's like she felt gaslit. She didn't feel like she was getting to the actual core of what happened and how things happen. And this is feeling like she's starting to realize that there's a bait and switch going on with this story, because, you know, Seven of Cups and the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck, Four of Pentacles. It's like she's starting to realize that with these multiple cups, there's things that she's not being told. There's things that are not coming out. Nine of Swords is now there's, you know, once again, that anxiety. Four of Pentacles, she's realizing now that, you know, somebody's being stubborn, not giving her the real juice, even circumventing some questions, and not in a way to where it appears that I understand you might not want to answer that for legal purposes, but she feels like, and this is allegedly, this is the energetic pull that I'm getting. It's like she feels like she's being spent at this point. Somebody's spinning her. So I find that very intriguing, that someone who works in media, who is a part of the machine, who spins the public, is feeling like they're being spent in some type of way. So you've got the Two of Wands here, you got the World, and then you got the Ace of Cups. So Two of Wands represents decisions that bring things to an end over a potential love situation. So, okay, this is where that question came with Gayle, where she was asking her about, has she been intimate with Tori? So right here up under her wig, y'all, Gayle was pulling, you know, little tidbits and putting things together. She caught on very swiftly that this was a situation that was not just third party, but it was a back and forth between two separate choices that brought everything to an end over a love relationship. So baby Gayle was no fool. She knew that he was picking and choosing between the two of them, allegedly. And that's what blew this whole thing up and brought everything to an end and caused this unrequited offer, this Four of Cups. So remember, we started this reading out with the other deck with the Four of Cups. So now I understand why they're telling me spiritually she felt like she was being spent. And then here's this Three of Cups and the Fool. So, you know, this leap of faith or this foolish behavior that came out of nowhere that happened during this celebration was over third party energy. And it feels like Gayle was very wise at this point to what she felt actually happened versus what's being said. So this is where that line of questioning came from when she asked about if they had been intimate. This was the energy that she had picked up on, and she expected to get to the truth of the matter. So you've got the Wheel, you've got the Three of Swords, you've got the Seven of Wands, and the Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which means that at this point, Gayle felt like this is where the interview was actually becoming fruitful for her through this heartbreak. She felt heartbreak because now it's like, okay, Megan is becoming defensive when it comes to talking about this Knight of Cups, which is this romantic offer. Okay, make sure y'all can see that. So now once again she feels as if I'm going to finish this interview, but I feel like, you know, you played with me. I already did not want to take this interview because I didn't know how this was going to pan out on my end due to my professionalism, my journalistic integrity. But if you're not going to be honest with me, you're not going to answer the hard-hitting questions, if you're going to, you know, say things that obviously feel to me as if you're not being truthful and you're not being honest, then how do we actually go about this interview and make it conducive? So you got the Moon and the Five of Cups. This is showing me that Gayle felt that she was being secretive, and this put her in deep regret and remorse for even taking this interview, because now she realizes there's more than what meets the eye on this situation, and the person that she is interviewing is being secretive and defensive, allegedly. The Hermit and the Six of Swords. So now she just wants to separate herself and move on from this toxic situation into, you know, things that are more suited to what she does for a living. I keep hearing journalistic integrity. They keep saying that over and over again. She wants to go back into doing the type of stories that are more so hard hitting, where she can get, you know, not just higher views, but they don't challenge the energy connected to her brand. So you've got the Nine of Swords here, which is heavy anxiety and worry connected to this King of Wands, this fire sign male, which will be Tauri. So now it's like Gayle realizes once she starts to question Megan about Tauri and the nature of their relationship, she automatically realizes that there is, you know, some deep anxiety around this situation. Hold on. I got some cards that are backwards in the deck. I want to make sure that they're turned around. Oh, wow. The Page of Swords and the High Priestess. So that says a lot in itself. That's, you know, people from a higher level, okay, that are secretly watching. Remember, I said that there are certain things that are being said that are coded as a communication for certain people. And you got this Ace of Pentacles, the Devil, and the Ace of Wands. There was a lot on the line, a lot invested. Someone was, obsessive, even dogmatic about how they were going to push forward for this interview. And there's the Death card, okay? Like I said in the last deck before I cleared the table, there had to be an ending to transition to bring a new beginning. And that was supposed to be the truth coming out in this interview, her coming forward to tell her story that was going to put an end to all of whatever the disparities were in this story. But it appeared to bring more conflict. Five of Wands is conflict and communication. Listen. Ace of Pentacles and the Devil fall right up under the Five of Pentacles. So when you got Ace of Pentacles and the Devil falling under the Five of Pentacles, that is literally someone invested heavily, and they were very, very, very strong-willed. Very strong-willed when they decided to push, I'm hearing between a narrative and an agenda, because they, like I said in the last deck, they were losing control. Five of Pentacles, being out in the cold, being ostracized. So they had to do what they had to do to turn this around. And then you've got this Two of Cups here at the bottom of the deck. So at this point, it's like Gayle is crystal clear to her that what's being said to her about the nature of their relationship is not what it is. Energetically, allegedly. So you've got this Two of Swords falling under the Six of Cups with the Moon above this Two of Swords. So after this interview was done, whatever association, affiliation that is attached to how and why this interview came into fruition, she wanted no more parts of this because there was a bigger secret involved. She felt like, someone was not keeping it real with her, like she was being used somehow, some way. And she wanted to remove herself from whatever this was that was attached to this past energy. So, y'all, Gayle pushed through this interview because of her professionalism, but she did not want to finish this interview because it was like something, she felt like at that point, once she asked about the relationship between them and she didn't get the answer that she thought was an honest answer attached to the energy between what happened to them in the past, she wanted to cut this interview short or cut off all associations with the people who brought this into fruition due to them being secretive, because moons represent huge secrets. It's, the moon has multiple faces and phases. So she felt like what was presented to her is not what came out of this interview. And it wasn't until she got off into this interview and got to speaking with Megan that she started to question the integrity of what was being said to her. Queen of Cups here, falling under the Two of Wands, the World, and the Ace of Cups. So that means she was highly intuitive, okay? Gayle was highly intuitive. She keyed in on, you know, body language. She keyed in on eye contact and certain things that usually analysts key in on. And she realized that this isn't what it was, but she was going to ride this out until the wheels fall off. You got the Wheel, the Hermit, and the Two of Cups. So she's realizing, oh, Three of Swords at the bottom. She's realizing that someone had to be on top after this heartbreak. Someone, you know, needed to be separated from a situation, from a Two of Cups. And she also wanted to separate herself from this story when everything was all said and done. This is that something ain't clean in the milk type energy. So you got this Nine of Wands, and it falls under the Three of Cups and the Fool. So she's starting to think, allegedly, this is the spiritual energy that I'm pulling around this. She's starting to think that this came out of a third-party situation that happened while partying. It literally was something that popped off out of nowhere when she became wounded. It was attached to phallic energy, okay? She's, you know, what I'm getting is that she's like, okay, it's two drunk girls who got into it over a guy that they both were messing with. So, you know, being that she comes out in the Queen of Cups energy, this means she's highly intuitive. This means you can't pull one over on her. This means that up under that wig, baby, she was thinking. And you got the Moon here and the Five of Cups. She knows that there is deep, heavy secrets that are involved in this situation, and it brings deep regret and remorse to her, because she knows without a shadow of a doubt, now that she's sitting here doing this interview, that, you know, this interview came out of haste, but it feels like, allegedly to her, this was all about phallic energy, okay, that big D energy. So it looks like Gayle ain't been too far removed from the block. She kind of, you know, looked at this, side-eyed it, and was like, yeah, I think I'm about to just wrap this up with a bow and just push on through. Yeah. So you've got the Wheel of Fortune in the upright that falls on top of the Wheel and the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles. So it's one of those situations where now is anxiousness, because it's like, what in the world did I just step into? She's realizing that, okay, somebody went down, but did it happen the way that they said it happened? There was a Wheel of Fortune involved here, attached to a King of Pentacles, who is a very established man. And here's Judgment. Judgment means that literally something had to come to an end for a situation to be elevated. And now we've got the phallic energy, that big D energy, right? So we've got the Ace of Swords, which is the card that represents truth. We've got the Knight of Swords, which is coming forward to tell your story. And it's like that truth came to an end, death, once Gayle realized that somebody wasn't being honest about the energy connected to this phallic energy. And then you got the Devil here. So now she's seeing it, but she's still at work and she has to do her job. So, you know, she asked the hard-hitting question. She didn't get the answer that she wanted. But from that point on out, she's realizing that there's a maleficent energy here attached to some toxic, negative energy that brought judgment. And then you got the Six of Wands here. which means that this was going to happen swiftly and they were going to be victorious once everything was said and done. So when it came down to it, the interview rather was supposed to shed a light on everything, because this isn't just about, being the happiest card in the deck. She felt like this was going to be a hard-hitting interview that was going to shed light on everything, that was going to show the people at home, the guilt that was around this case, what actually happened. And it ended up being an unrequited offer, because her spidey senses started tingling right up under this Queen of Cups. She smelled bullshit. And she realized, look at this, the bottom of the deck. She realized that this Knight of Wands energy was the real reason why this Tower came about. For those of you who don't know tarot, that means someone being in a whorish energy, okay? Somebody, being in thought-like energy is the real reason why everything came crashing down. And this is what was illuminated to Gayle during this interview about this this Nine of Wands, the wounded warrior, how this came about, the Fool, how everything just out of nowhere popped off out of somebody partying and celebrating. It was third-party energy. And this actually was heartbreaking to Gayle, because now she realizes, like I said, somebody was doing a spin job on her, and it's like she got dragged into something by being it was like evidence and different things that were given to her were presented one way, but once she got to digging into this interview and asking certain questions, she realized that it was not what was being said. Yep, here it is. Knight of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. I mean, not Queen of Pentacles, excuse me, y'all. Knight of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. So now you've got someone who has made a name for themselves after, being in this frisky type, hoish, Knight of Wands, thought-like type energy. Everything that came about, we're looking at Gayle is starting to realize that this was an unfortunate situation that came out of a really ratchet three-way love affair. And she put two and two together herself with the limited information. And it came from her paying attention to the body mechanics and the cues and how she answered questions, the pauses before she answered the question, the lack of eye contact on certain questions. She was watching her and analyzing her as she spoke, and it felt like she knew right then and there that this is not what I was told in the beginning. I'm going to complete this interview, but this interview is taking a turn in a way that I did not expect, that I do not like. This is like somebody feeling like they've been toyed with and manipulated to a certain extent, but a story is still a story, and she's going to put this interview out because she's already made the commitment, and the announcements have already went out to the public that this interview is going to be done. So she was not going to be humiliated by not dropping this interview, canceling this interview, so to speak. She was just going to, make the best out of the situation and take lemons and make lemonade. So that's the energetic pull that I got around the Gale King interview. Gale King went into this interview to get the truth about what happened that night, to give Megan the opportunity to use her voice to tell her own story. This was supposed to be a harrowing tale of survival and how she pulled through adversity, and she wanted to give Megan the chance to, tell the world about, domestic abuse and shed light on this so that people can know that this can happen to anyone. But when it was all said and done, she felt like somebody was playing in her face. This was not what it was presented to be behind the scenes, but she was not going to, miss out on the opportunity to get the ratings once it was already, announced that this was going to come out to the people. So this is my energetic pull from under Gale King's wig, y'all. Gale King's wig gave us all the tea. She might not want to say nothing, but we asked her wig. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here because I got a few other things to tap into. I thank y'all in advance. And yeah, this was quite interesting. Quite interesting to say none the least. Oh, wait a minute. Before I get out of here, we're supposed to look at how is this going to affect the future of how we see her report on this on the back end. Felt like one of y'all reminded me that I left something out. So we're going to do this and then we're done. Okay. So now that Tory is filing a petition to take his case to the higher court, how does Gale King feel about the coverage of this case? Is she going to tap back in, or is she going to run swiftly away from reporting on anything else that has to do with this? Oh, so you got Trap coming out in reverse. So if Trap comes out in reverse, that means that someone has been freed. Homeless. Okay, so that's feeling displaced over this conflict. So it's like she's conflicted on if she even wants to touch this. We got Justice here. Hold on. Alliance and Introvert. Okay, so you notice those are people who are in bed with each other. Then when you got Alliance with people who are in bed with each other, she may end up, if she decides to tap into this, she may end up looking into the legal side of this, because there's a bigger story to this when you report on the justice system and who may have been in bed with each other. And that may be her new angle, her new goal on how she reports on this, depending on the way that things work out with Tory and him filing for a retrial. And then you've got a conflict here, okay? And then you've got pride. So when you got a conflict, that's like a conflict of interest due to her pride, possibly not wanting to get back involved due to the strange bedfellows who are in alliance with each other that were a part of this justice process, now being displaced, now that Tory is no longer trapped, because remember that Trap came out in reverse. Relaxation and Death at the bottom of the deck. So it's like she's going to kick back, and you notice this person is reading, they're studying. She's going to kick back and watch how this unfolds. She's going to do her own digging, her own investigating to see what's actually happening. She doesn't want anybody to just send her anything anymore. This is where the investigative reporting kicks in. daydreaming and withdrawal. So, you know, it's like she feels like, you know, allegedly, that this could be a fantasy that, you know, he's going to possibly get out. She doesn't believe that he's going to, you know, as the street says, beat this case, that, you know, withdraw. She's gonna, right as of now, it's like she's gonna fall back from reporting anything on this story. She's gonna stay away from being attached to this story. Okay, so you got blind. Okay, so blind meaning is that she is unwilling to see how he's been displeased, but she is seeing the protest against justice because people feel like things have been manipulated, marionette. So here it is. Remember I said how she felt about that interview. You got withdraw from alliances. So she's no longer aligning herself with the people that she dealt with in the first place to do the initial reading. Reading. Gayle, you do readings? That she did the initial interview with. She no longer wants to align herself with them. Okay, so you got stubborn here with the fingers in the person's ear. This is somebody who don't want to hear nothing else from these people who, you know, at one point she may have been in bed with, in alliance with, so to speak. And here you got introvert, triumph. So introvert over triumph is like she literally is retracting herself from this situation. And, you know, this is where she feels like at this moment is best for her, because she gets to go back to doing the type of stories and the hard-hitting interviews that actually are of her, can we say it, journalistic integrity. Okay, so you got stubbornness falling under conflict. So she feels like, you know, there was a major loss in this situation because somebody didn't want to be open and honest. They were being stubborn about sharing the actual information attached to this conflict. Relaxation, disturbance. So yeah, she's not trying to be affiliated with anything that has to do with this disturbance. If anything, this feels like she thinks somebody might need to go and see this loneliness and death. She feels like somebody might need to go to rehab, aid at the bottom of the deck. Somebody needs assistance with turning loose whatever this is that's on their back, allegedly. And now we can go ahead and bring this reading to a close, because I almost forgot to tap into the future around if she'll cover this, how she's looking at this. So, you know, it feels like to me, you know, the only way she'll tap into this is if and when she sees that the higher courts have taken this case and things happen to turn in Tori's favor. If not, this is a hot potato that she don't want nothing else to do with, and she's going to stay as far away from this as possible, because she didn't like the fact that somebody hired her to get involved with helping to shed the light on what happened to Megan, and she feels like she got spent when it was all said and done, that she was manipulated, allegedly. So now we are going to go ahead and leave Gayle and her wig alone and close this reading. See y'all soon. Bye.